G'day folks. Today I want to run you through the Checkonchain charting suite and much more from a hands-on practical perspective of where you can actually find different tools, what tools are available, and once we're in some of the charts, how do we actually navigate them and use them to their full potential? So things like how to zoom in, how to turn on and off different traces, and really how to get the most out of the suite itself. So the first thing to know is that we're actually rebuilding the Checkonchain suite. So this has been going for many, many years, right? Since block 560,000. So we will be giving this a full revamp in the months to come. So that's something to look forward to. If you have any suggestions or feedback or, things that you think might help us actually design this to be much more useful for you, please always reach out. However you can find me, we're always looking for suggestions and feedback. So the next thing is that the data will update once a day. Now, occasionally we do run into, errors with data providers and things like that. But generally speaking, the data will update approximately once a day, usually just after midnight UTC, assuming we don't run into any bugs. We are also going to be rebuilding and restructuring that backend. So bear with us. This is very much a passion project. I built Checkonchain for myself. That is really how I continue to use it and build it. What we are going to be doing is making it much easier for other people who come in and use this tool. I obviously know what's here and where it all is. We're going to be doing a much, much cleaner way to sort things out so it's easy to navigate and find what you're looking for. Righto, so starting with the general structure. So we've tried to group things up into various, typically people are looking for pricing models or various other toolkits, and you'll see that under each one of these titles, there's a handful of buttons. Now, these are usually grouped by type. So for example, if we're looking for short-term holder MVRV, this is a very common and popular metric. We've got the base metric itself. We've also got the Z-score, which is a nice transformation that brings into the statistical domain. And then we have a histogram, which is a different type of chart that helps us understand the probabilities. But all of these are related to short-term holder MVRV. Now, whilst they're actually technically not pricing models, this is something that I will solve in the next iteration. Short-term holder indicators are some of my personal favorites. The reason that they're up here at the top is because they are the ones that I will open up more often than anything else. So these are all under short-term holder indicators. And the reason they're up here, even though they're not technically a pricing model, is because these are super, super powerful. So we'll be solving that in the next iteration to bring these up and make it really obvious that these are powerful tools. So you'll see this general structure where all of these particular metrics, we've got the metric, the histogram of the metric, the Z-score, and the histogram of the Z-score. And again, these are all things that are related to the same characteristic, but we will explore these more in the newsletter itself. So in terms of actually really understanding what these things are doing and how we apply them, that's where the newsletter is the perfect companion to our charting website. Now we do have ETF and derivative metrics. So this covers futures, what's going on with the spot ETFs, what's going on with options, leverage and liquidations, and all these types of things. In the world of profit and loss, so on-chain data, this is where the magic happens. Profit and loss metrics are, in my opinion, the most powerful toolkit you'll often see within this realm. Notice how we've got orange, red, and blue. This is when we're looking at, for example, sell-side risk ratio across the entire market for short-term holders and for long-term holders. And you'll see that pattern played out over and over again. And again, all of this will be cleaned up a lot more in the upcoming release, but just to give you a bit of a view on how we actually structure it as it stands today. So this is trying to identify these are all market-based, the entire market with no cohort applied, short-term holders, long-term holders. So we'll use that same pattern over and over again. So really the profit and loss metrics is where you'll see me personally spend a lot of my analysis effort because I think they're really, really powerful tools. We've also got some more advanced tools down here like tracking top heavy markets. These are structured in a way to try and get the insight as quickly as possible. So you'll find a lot of value in these types of metrics and sets. Lifespan, so this is looking at things in terms of coin day destruction, network adoption metrics, supply metrics. So this is where you'll find things like the HODL waves, long-term holder supply, spent coins by long-term holders, what's going on with these different entities, retail, high net worth, right? These different cohorts. You'll find mining metrics where we've got things like hash rate ribbons, pure multiple. These are all the classic metrics, some estimates of the cost of production. technical analysis and volatility. So these are actually really, really powerful tools. We've got things that look at actually the monthly price performance, right? Different corrections and drawdowns and price performance and all these different dynamics. Also some tools when people come to you and say, hey, Bitcoin's too volatile and, I want to go and buy my NASDAQ stock, you can actually show them how Bitcoin is competing on Sharpe ratio and compound annual growth rate, and actually compare it to those different asset classes. And just a quick hint, it's blitzing all of them. We do also have some stablecoin metrics and a handful of macro models, but I think that will do us for the time being. Righto, so the next step is to really look at the charts themselves and explore all of the different tools and functionality that is available. So the first thing is that here we're looking at short-term SOAP, which is very popular and one of my personal favorite indicators. And up the top here, you'll be able to turn on or off various legend items. So we can see we've got the short-term holder realized price. We can turn on or off the different parts of SOAP itself, as well as some of these key levels. Now, if you double click on a legend item, it will isolate only that particular object, and another double click will bring everything back. So I can then double click on price and I will only have price. If I double click on everything again, we will get the whole trace back. Now, what we also have in the top left here is actually a really important and powerful tool, which is a series of zoom settings. So we can look at things in terms of what was going on in cycle 3. We can look at what was going on in cycle 4. I will use cycle 4 quite often, which is the tail end of 2018 all the way through to our current era. I will also use what I call modern era, which is basically from 2015 onwards. This is really the environment that we want to be comparing against. Even back here in 2015, 16 is kind of getting towards the tail end because we have derivatives and all sorts of things over here that's a little bit more relevant. So cycle 4 is definitely going to be the most relevant. Although I still think that this modern era zoom, and I'll use this quite a bit, this is really the limit of where the data and just the way Bitcoin behaves is applicable. So I wouldn't really spend too much time looking at the earlier cycles because they were just a different beast. And that is why modern era is set up. And we also have one called recent history, which helps us see what's going on in the more immediate term. So the tail end of 2022 into 23 and 24. So that's really showing you kind of the broad picture of what we've got. Now, the next one to look at is zoom levels and different axes. So for the x-axis, we have a slider bar where we can actually move horizontally and see whereabouts we actually want to zoom into the chart. We can drag the right side and we can drag the left side to actually change that level. The same is actually true on the axes themselves. So you'll see down the bottom here, when I hover my mouse over the axis, I've got this little double arrow. If I click anywhere in the middle of the x-axis and drag, it will laterally translate the entire chart. If I grab towards the right-hand side, I can compress the zoom and actually change what level it's at. And I can also do this manually. So I can say, I want to zoom from 2024 on the 1st of January, and it will snap to the 1st of January, 2024. I can also do the same on the left-hand side, and we can change what level we want to look at. Now on the y-axis, you'll see that this one on the right-hand side, generally speaking, the right-hand side will have the metric that we're actually looking at. In this case, it's short-term SOPA. I may say I want to look at it from 0.85, and at the top, I want to look at a 1.3. So now I've changed the default zoom levels. I could also grab from the top and actually compress it. I could grab from the middle and shift it vertically. So you will be able to control the right-hand axis by changing the top settings and putting a defined number in, dragging it, or moving it from the center. And of course, the left-hand side is then price, where we can do all of the same exercise. I can change this to 1E6, which is 1 million. I can change where these levels go. So that will help you navigate the actual zoom tool itself. Now, let's say that you're kind of playing around the chart and you really want to see what's going in here. You can actually grab and do a box zoom and it will bring these levels in. Quite often when you do this, you may have to then just adjust slightly to get these levels, right? So you can use the actual axis to fine tune your analysis and really zoom into whatever particular levels you want to look at. And then of course you can change your expansion and all sorts of different things there. If you were to double click, it will snap all the way back to the original default zoom. You can also go in the top here and hit default zoom and that will achieve the same result. There is also a little home button up the top here that will do the same thing. It will reset the axes to wherever they were by default. So let's say we've zoomed in here, the little home button will bring everything back in. Now, the last one to have a look at is this top right. Now, this is all about the tooltip. You can see here that whenever I hover over a particular trace, it will tell me the value of that specific trace. This is what's called info on, and it will look at only the actual object that you are hovering over, so you can see the value of things. If you want to just have it off, let's say that you're creating content and you don't want that particular cursor or the crosshairs going, info off will turn off that tooltip completely. You can also do one called unified, which will show you the value of every trace in the chart at the same point. So if you want to compare things over time, you can actually see what those levels are. And then there's another one that is called details that has a much bigger information pane. That can be useful for people creating content or taking screenshots or various other elements, right? So that just helps people really identify what levels and different values we're currently at. I will usually have info on. That's my default because the cursor can help people see where my cursor is, but also I can just point at specific levels. So that you will almost always find is the default. So thanks for tuning in for that session, folks. Hopefully you found it useful. If you have any suggestions or feedback, you can reach me anywhere that you can find me. I'm always looking for iterations and different information that can help us do a better job on this charting website. And as I said, we're rebuilding it at the moment. So if you do have any feedback, please feel free to let us know. So until the next one, I'll catch you there. Cheers.